Welcome to the Experience Matters podcast with your host, Kent Clothier Sr., and your co-host, Kevin Hommel.
Kent Clothier here. Welcome to the next episode of our Experience Matters podcast. Hope everybody's doing fine. We've got a great episode for you today, talking about fear and risk. As usual, my co-host Kevin Hommel is joining us today. Kevin, how are you doing, sir?
Good afternoon. Happy summer.
How's everything going with you?
I'm great.
Very good. So we have, last time we started talking about opening the episode with Q&A. And so today we're going to take 2 or 3 questions and then get into probably explaining those in detail about risk and fear and entrepreneur and business and so on and so forth with those particular things. So I'll let you have the floor, Kevin, and have a few words and question. Go ahead, sir.
So last time you asked everybody to send in questions. We got some questions from some listeners. Question number 1, we put these together on the topic of fear and risk today. Where did you learn about how to take risks? Obviously, in your career, lots of positive and negative turns. You've shown the ability to take risks, the willingness to take risk. I think everybody wants to hear how you go about approaching that. So where did you learn how to take risks?
Well, when I first started, obviously when I was really, really young, there was some fear of the risk we were taking. And then I came to understand that if the risk is calculated and well thought out, and I'm prepared for the risk, which you're never completely prepared, and in the back of my mind that I could adapt as I went along. And so that's how I got through that. But part of that was confidence and the belief in what I was going to do. And anytime you're stepping out there, whether it's an investor to buy a new property, wherever or whatever it is, or it's an entrepreneur to step out there and take a risk, you have to have confidence. You have to believe in yourself. You have to be able to adapt as you go. You have to get by all the naysayers that are going to tell you that it can't be done, all the negative influences and the self-doubt that's on you. You have to get past the fear of being wrong, get past the fear that you're not going to please everyone, positive frame of mind, and then you just go. And preparation for risk and fear is probably the most important part. And knowledge and confidence relaxes and releases some of the fear when you're better prepared. Early on, 30 years ago, when I first started as an entrepreneur, is that about right? Yes. I probably wasn't as prepared as I would be today. Today, making decisions, Kevin, as you know, in here, big decisions that have lots of consequences, lots of money, a lot of people depending on us and some of the risks that we take. You know, talking to people that work for us, 75 people with families and houses and children and all that. So some of the risk that we take has to be well thought out, well defined, and very calculated. And then what we've learned over the years, how to manage that and how to make better decisions. And but without risk, you have no chance of being successful. You'll be able to go out there and be moderately successful, but if you want to scale a business, then you are going to have to take risk and get over the fear of that.
So yeah, one of the general principles of investing is risk and reward. If you don't take risk, then That's why you only make 1% on a money market fund. There's nothing. There's no chance to
There you go.
lose it.
It's
So
a good, really good observation.
what? So did somebody model that for you, or did you just kind of pick that up as you went?
No, and I think I picked up most of it myself because I don't have anybody. The mentors that I had early on were not entrepreneurs. They were hardworking corporate people. And that's the environment that I came out of. So as the years went by, there were some gurus that I leaned back on and listened to some of their messages, not necessarily motivational, but more inspiration on attitude and mindset and the thinking that you have that you can be successful and don't let anybody stand in your way, and get by the fear of rejection, no fear of making wrong decisions, even though you're going to make them, going to make wrong decisions. And as long as you make more right decisions than you do wrong decisions, and I've made plenty of wrong decisions that have affected people in our business, but fortunately we make more right decisions today, especially with a team of people that we have that aid me and help me with working through those decisions, then it's a little bit more satisfying that way.
Okay. So back through your career, some of the risks you took took a position in the grocery business that was going to put you in charge of people much older than you, a risk of a young leader trying to make his way, leaving that environment to go to business for yourself. Now successful in business, the investment in this company and in customer service when nobody else would do that. Obviously, you're very comfortable with risk, calculated, preparing for them. The second question that we got asked is, what type of risks are you not willing to take?
Well, in business, in my box of real estate and investments and working with people in property management and customer service, and in that particular arena, I am not bothered by taking the risk. What risk would bother me that I wouldn't be willing to take is if I got outside that box into an area that I wasn't familiar with, taking a risk or making a decision or having the fear of something that I'm not knowledgeable on, I'm not educated on, I'm not in my bailiwick, so to speak. I'm outside of what I know. That's where I would be very, very careful about taking risk. And the more confidence you build in your arena, then obviously the less fear you have of taking that risk. And it's just, you just have to measure and look at what that risk is. And if it's in your particular area of expertise, then, and you have years and years and years of doing that, then your risk should be minimized if you're educated and self-aware of what's going on and have the confidence.
Okay. So one of the risks we're taking right now, obviously over the past 5 years, we've expanded out of Memphis into Dallas, and right after that into Houston. Those have been our markets, our three cities for the past few years. Now we're expanding into two new markets, Oklahoma City and Little Rock. There's a lot of risk and expansion, and there should be a lot of reward there, both for us and for our clients. So how do you decide as a business owner in this business, in the real estate investment business, what is a good market for expansion?
Well, as we've looked at, of course, starting with Memphis and then going to Dallas there with over 1,000 properties today, in Houston, about 150 to 200 properties there. So we looked at states or cities that were close by, and our team, and Kevin, you were in on a lot of this, did a lot of the exploratory data dive on Little Rock and Oklahoma City. And then we realized that they fit into the market that we're looking for, which was similar to Memphis, but not quite as pricey as Dallas and Houston. The rental opportunity was good in both markets. The opportunity to hire local people to do the renovations was good. So that's a lot about the decision to go into those two markets, which we're already in. We've already purchased houses today in both of those markets, and so we're looking at some other surrounding areas to consider. But if I was an investor that was talking to us about investing with us, I also want to minimize my risk. And I would say a company like ours is going to minimize your risk in either one of the 3 to 5 cities because of the attention to detail that we do in the attempt to bring the experience to our investor. That's an unbelievable experience. And I think that's why today that we have over 4,000 properties and over 1,500 plus investors that realize that there was risk, but we're interested in minimizing their risk so that they continue to do business with us and continue to buy more properties. And that's probably the number one thing that we look at for investors is to minimize their risk. And then we're looking for markets for them like Little Rock, like Oklahoma City, that does minimize their risk and presents an opportunity for them with minimal risk.
Great. So if you're listening, this is the first episode you've heard. Go back to episode 8, talk about focus and discipline, find out how we're such a good company, and that references that comment Kent just made there a little bit. So good stuff. That's our 3 questions this week. If you want to submit a question for us, info@memphisinvest.com, and those come straight to us, and we'll filter them in on topic and get them in the podcast.
Very good. Very good. So those 3 questions were great. So let me just expand a little bit more on fear and risk. And sometimes I look at myself and I have the best action, when my back's up against the wall and I have to make a decision that affects a lot of people. To me, that's when I'm probably at my best because I don't have the fear because I can handle the result. I know we'll work through it, whether it's good or bad. And of course, obviously we want the decision to be good. And most all of our decisions and risks that we take today are good. Have we had risk and decisions that we made over the years that haven't been so good? Certainly. But with over 50 years of experience now working and almost 30 or more as an entrepreneur, so I've come to recognize some of the signs and some of the points that I need to dig into deeper on making some decisions. And so we try to, again, to minimize that. But again, as I said earlier on, the confidence and the knowledge are really the big things that assist you in doing that. And you also have to learn by doing it. And again, not worrying about what other people think. Focus on the bigger picture, focus on winning and not losing. And as I said a few minutes ago, you cannot make a living without taking risk. And I don't have the fear of making wrong decisions, although I know some of my decisions will be wrong. I have no fear of rejection. I've been rejected many times. Banks, lenders, offers, whatever. In business, you're going to get a lot of rejection, and that doesn't bother me. It's just part of being an entrepreneur, knowing that you just got to keep plugging away, and you're going to get turned down. You're going to get rejected a lot. And again, part of that is in the fear and the risk factor, and just part of doing business.
I think another risk, especially when we talk about expansion into these 2 new markets, is you had to trust your team that you put around you to deliver the results, to do the research, to come back to you with a recommendation. For the most part, for those who don't know the company real well, Kent brought a team together that said, "You guys go do the research, bring me the plan, and we'll go forward." And for the most part, you did that. You kind of just let us handle it. Myself, a couple of the other VPs, and a couple of other key leaders, and here we are now buying inventory in 2 new markets that 2 months ago we were barely even talking about. So you have to trust the people.
And that's a great point, Kevin. Again, I talk about our people and our team a lot. We have 75 people that work for us, but in our inner circle, we have a couple different layers of leadership, and our top leadership, led by Kevin, has 4 other VPs in it, and they do the research, they do the data search, they do all the legwork into major decisions that we make in our company every day, whether it's involving people or properties or lenders or customer service or renovations. these folks are making those decisions that there is a lot of risk in those decisions every single day. And I have the confidence in them to make the right decisions. And then at the next level, we have another level of middle management folks that are training and coming up and learning how to handle decisions, how to make calculated decisions based on working with other people that are going to lead us in a direction that we want to go in as we develop the next level of leadership for our team and the support of our investors and our vendors and our employees and our residents.
Yeah, I want to go back to fear real quick and let's quantify some of the numbers we're talking about for Little Rock and Oklahoma City for us. We'll probably in the next 12 months buy $15 million worth of inventory in those two markets that you pretty much just said, y'all handle it, bring me the plan, and we'll go forward. And if you're sitting at home right now and you're listening to this, you're at work, you're an entrepreneur, and you're really to the point of launching your company or expanding your company, trusting the people, you have to be able to do that from your chair like Kent did with these two expansion markets to trust the team to really with significant capital to go and bring you what you want, what we know our clients want, to take our company to another level. And we sat here this morning in our executive meeting talking about doing 1,000 properties in a year. That is, well over $100 million. That's probably $150 million worth of investment in a single year in 5 cities. And for the entrepreneur sitting at home listening, he or she has to be willing to kind of turn that loose.
Well, again, Kevin, a good point, but and I think Chris mentioned this morning that we're managing today for our investors $450 million thereabouts worth of property for them. Probably going to be over $500 million later this year, first part of next year, as we move towards 5,000 properties that we manage for our investors. But some of the numbers that we have and some of the numbers that we do, and again, I was in Arizona a few weeks ago speaking, and I talked about that without the team that we have and understanding risks, like today we have over 100 rehabs going on in 5 cities today. The majority of those going on in Memphis and Dallas. And we have people that are handling those, project managers that work for us that are handling those. Each one of those are an average of about $40,000. So you can do the numbers real quick and see the kind of money that we're spending. But in order to be able to rent 120 or 140 houses a month, in order to be able to have 100 rehabs going on, in order to be able to buy 700 to 800 houses a year right now, we have to be able to step out, have good leadership, have a great team of people working with them, be well-rounded, well-coached, well-educated, good decision-making by our leadership in order for us to be able to have the systems and the technology that we have to be able to go out and do these rehabs and do these houses in less than 30 to 45 days on every one of them is what we expect. And then the expectation is to rent them and not have them on the market less than 20 days. So those are some high level expectations for our team. But again, it goes back to what I said in an earlier podcast. 75 people that work for us are a different type of folks. They're not average. We can't have average people in here to do these kind of numbers. It takes a complete different mindset, a complete different skill set, a complete different level of energy and enthusiasm to be able to fit into the culture that we have to do this kind of volume in the systems and the detail that we have. And again, so there's some risk there on trying to find these type of people. Risk being that these are the type of people that we want, and we risk a lot when we don't hire these type of people. And so we're looking for those people. And so Kevin, that's part of that answer. And I'm glad you expanded a little bit on more on the fear and risk.
Yeah, and so this ties back to the topic from the last podcast on discipline and focus. So go back and listen to that again. Refresh yourself on that, because everything Kent just said is the result of the discipline and focus that allows us to take the risk, the mindset, which allows us to overcome the fears. You've got everybody in the company right now, for the most part, reading this book about the SEALs, and just where you don't let your mind get in the way of your abilities. Chris just ran the race that he ran, and the mindset training that he had to go into, it's more mental than really physical there. So all that ties together. Go back and listen to that last one, play this one over and over again for sure.
And that's a good point. I'll wrap it up on that here in the next couple of minutes. And a lot of you may or may not know, I have 3 sons, Kent Jr., that in San Diego, and then Chris and Brett, and Chris just in the last couple of weeks attempted a 100-mile super marathon. I'm not sure if that's ultra marathon, and completed 61 miles of it on his first time that he's ever done that, which is, I can't even imagine running 61 miles. I get tired just driving 8 hours in my car. Okay. So, but he ran 61 miles, and tremendous feat for that. I'm sure most people could not do that. And he trained for it, and I think he's going to come back and do it again. But a lot about, Kevin, what you said about being an entrepreneur or being a investor is about the mindset and about thinking what you can do and what you can't do. But as an entrepreneur specifically, you have to step outside of your comfort area. If you're, and I run into a lot of people a lot of times that are so analytical and so overthink everything. They're going to get in their way of ever being really, really successful. But you have to step out and take a risk. And as I said before earlier, you cannot make a living, a good living, and hire a team and have a scaling business without taking risk. And that's the message that I have for you today. You have to step out. You have to work through the fear. You have to adapt as you go. You have to believe in yourself. You cannot have fear of making wrong decisions. You cannot have fear of rejections. And you just have to step out and do it. And surround yourself with a lot of knowledge, a lot of confidence, good mentors, and step out and just do it. So again, I wish everybody success. Hopefully this was good for you today on this episode. We'll be back here in a few days with the next podcast. Kevin, thank you very much for being part of it. To all of our listeners, again, we enjoy having you. Our website is memphisinvest.com. Have a great day.
Thank you for joining us on Experience Matters. You can listen and subscribe to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. Be sure to visit us at memphisinvest.com.